Hi. It's nice to see you all again. I hope you're doing all right. My last video got a surprising amount of views, considering I was struggling with focus issues and didn't do a voiceover. I'm definitely not complaining, but it's interesting to me. Thank you. Thank you all for that. As you probably know, I've mentioned a few times about how I was trying to use all of my notebooks that I've got stored up before buying anything new, which probably makes this video a bit of surprise for most people who have been paying close attention, considering that this book is new. I've been eyeing the Hobonichi Cousin for a while now, but I really just couldn't justify the price, along with feeling worried about having empty pages if I miss a day or two. The things that I really like about the Cousin is that the pages are larger, which makes writing a lot easier. I find myself struggling to write sentences properly and easily on the Weeks and the original Hobonichi. My hands fall off the page, and that ends up making my writing kind of wrongly. And by the end of a sentence or two, if I'm writing quite a lot, it just looks kind of mangled. I also really love that the Cousin has a week timetable overview in it. I really love having the option of seeing a week at a glance, especially when you can see the appointments in a linear timetable. The size of the Cousin has been living in my head rent-free for a while, and on top of that, I ended up having a fairly severe mental health relapse this week. I was out at a therapy appointment and had originally planned on just going home after my session, but the things we had talked about and the way I was feeling lended itself to a total and absolute downward spiral. I know that therapy can be a journey and that some days are going to be more difficult than others, but I think this particular session wasn't difficult in a productive way. My therapist did give me some good action plans to follow, and I acted on those things that she suggested. But one of the main problems that I'm experiencing right now is concerning feeling panic and dread concerning applying for and maintaining gainful employment, to the point that looking at job duties and job listings has caused full, and I'm being literal, not dramatic, anxiety attacks. Talking about that in therapy and having challenges concerning that in place was definitely a catalyst to some deep and intense sadness. If you've been following me for a while, you'll know that I'm on stress-induced mental health medical leave from work at the moment, which means I'm living off of my savings, essentially, until I'm able to return to work or find another job. I will be getting some insurance payments, but it's the equivalent of only about 60% of a normal paycheck for me, and it won't be paid out for some time. I'm really only saying this to explain why I felt the need to buy myself a notebook and pretty pens to match the coloring of the pages. I've been looking around on Reddit and Tumblr and things, and I really love how brown and burgundy inks look on the pages in the Hobonichi. I wanted to try a fountain pen brown ink, but since I don't have much practice with fountain pens and don't necessarily want to carry around a fountain pen for fear of it breaking or leaking, I ended up buying a pack of these Uniball pens. I think they're limited colors, which is a little bit upsetting since I really like the somehow dark and muted at the same time colors that they have going on, but I figured they had a much lower learning curve than a fountain pen right now and would be easier to tote around with me. I desperately needed a win on the day that I had that therapy appointment, and there's a store on the way home that stocks Hobonichi products, so I wanted to go and at least try and see what I could find. I definitely couldn't justify the price of the Cousin itself, and the store I went to only had January start books anyway. I didn't want to feel bad about losing the earlier month's pages, so I ended up getting the notebook version of the Hobonichi. The Day Free book was available, but that one's still quite expensive too, and it would have wasted months in the calendar section, and it was a blue cover, the notebook had the botanical cover available, and I've been admiring that design for almost a year, it feels like. I think that they had these out when I bought my AVEC last year. The price point is also significantly cheaper than a full-on pre-organized Hobonichi, so I figured I can try it out for a while here, and if I don't end up sticking with it, that's less of a pull on my wallet, and it can also be used for other things later if it comes down to it. During my therapy session, I was thinking about how I've been regularly feeling like time is slipping away from me, and I realized that while I'm on leave, I ought to be resting fully and completely, but getting through each day with no structure at all and feeling like there's very limited progress on the things that I actually want to do with my time and want to enjoy was causing me a non-zero amount of stress. So this is an experiment for now. I'm attempting some very gentle time blocking. I have the timeline listed out on the left, some tasks that I would like to do during that time immediately next to them, and then a dividing line with what I actually did or accomplished to the right of the dividing line. The night before I started my new book, I wrote out a list of things I wanted to do or that needed to be done on a given day. Some of the things I'm particularly concerned about actually doing and prioritizing in a day are exercising, which, yes, I realize exercise is spelled with an S. It's a problem. I don't know when or how I started using Z in my brain, but I'm working on catching it when I can and correcting it. But anyway, exercising, drawing, literally anything, washing the dishes, tidying something, reading and working on my YouTube channel or my zine or other personal projects. Those types of things were definitely top priorities that I want to make time for. I do have bare minimum acts that would count for those goals. What I mean by that is, for like the dishes, I want to wash bare minimum of 1 dish a day. Generally, if I start washing, I end up doing whatever dishes are there, but I want to specifically set out a time to go wash the dish. That way, even if I only wash 1, it's a win, and that's better than it was before I started. This goes for exercising as well. Ideally, I'd like to do at least 20 minutes, but if that's not going to happen, then I will accept 3 minutes of any kind of physical activity. As I mentioned, the 20th was the day that I had my therapy appointment, and the emotional toll of that day really messed with me, and I ended up sleeping in really late and didn't start writing out my plan for the 21st until about noon. I didn't want to feel like I had wasted the day or that I couldn't start my book because I slept in, so I started the tasks later in the day and set myself a challenge to try and be in bed a bit earlier, as well as wake up just a bit earlier on the 22nd. I also did a really skeletal version of planning for the 23rd. Because I wasn't quite sure what exactly I would want to get done on that day and when, I figured putting in the non-negotiable tasks and things that have a specific time they need to be done would be sufficient. I also drew in some pictures and tried to keep the book looking pretty. I definitely find that if my pages are pretty, I want to go back in and I want to look at them and check things off and comment on them. I get a very deep sense of satisfaction with full pages. You can see that in my sketchbook pretty well, I think. I'll put a photo of one of the pages up in the corner if you'd like to get a sense of what I mean. I think for me, especially with sketching, having a full page is more important than having days in order or having set squares for drawing on a given day. It's the 22nd today as I'm recording this, and I've been sticking with my book. I've found a lot of enjoyment in trying to add little sketches of things that I enjoy and with playing with the colors of the pens that I got. I also have been feeling a little more like my time is organized and less like it's slipping away and that I have no control. I want to do the things I have in the time blocks, and if it's in that time block, then it's something that's a priority and that I know will be something that I'll either enjoy or that needs to be done. I'm also trying to add in play as one of the tasks in the time blocks as well. To me, play would include something like sewing, embroidering or crochet, or a video game. Something that I don't need to do, but helps me feel creative for the sake of my own creativity. I haven't been particularly good at honoring that lately, but seeing it on the time blocks is definitely motivating for me to try and make it work. I think that's about all that I wanted to try to explain today. Thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel lately. It's really nice seeing you. I'd love it if you could comment the kinds of things that you've been doing to plan. Do you actually plan your days out or your goals? Are you more freeform? If you are more freeform, do you find that you still accomplish the things that you want to do? How do you keep track of your appointments and tasks? I'm open to trying different methods because I've never done time blocking before. I don't know what I'm doing. So if you have a way that you found works better for you, I'd really like to hear about it. Additionally, just a little reminder, you have just about a week to join the Pen Pal Club on Patreon if you'd like to get a handmade friendship bracelet mailed out to you. I'll just be doing that until the end of February to celebrate 100 subscribers on YouTube. I also added a new phone background on Patreon for everyone who joins either the Tip Jar tier or the Pen Pal Club tier. I hope to keep adding new phone backgrounds about once a month. I'm still struggling a bit with getting them to play nicely with desktops, so I appreciate your patience. Anyway, thanks again for hanging out with me and letting me talk about the things I'm doing to try and quiet out my brain. I hope you're having a good week. I hope you found some company in my video. I will talk to you again soon. Bye for now.